Hello everyone, I am Deva, and in the day 3 of our AWS playlist, today we are going to cover about the AWS VPC, regions, availability zones, subnetting, and how we can create a new subnet, in particular VPC region, or how we can create a new VPC. We'll cover that also, and later on we will move on further with more concepts like IAM. But in today's video, we will focus on the VPC and subnetting the default VPC network address and what are the available hosts in particular subnets. All this thing we will do here. So let's start with the first of all, what are region? So region are nothing but this. You can see this all are the regions. We have more than 34, I guess 50 regions or around 50 regions in the AWS provides. So you can consider it as a region. Like you can see this. It is a region one, North Virginia. Okay, so every region has its default VPC. It is created by default. So you can see this VPC ID. It is default and created by this North Virginia, this region. So it's IPv4 or the default network address. It is this for the default VPC. We have this network address 172.31.0.0/16. Okay, so here it is network part. Here it is host part. 16-bit of network, 16-bit of host. If we go in the another region, Ohio, for example, so you can see we have different VPC ID, but it is a default VPC. So we get the same network address. You can see. So this is clear. Now we'll move here in the North Virginia and we will see what are the availability zone. So you can consider a hierarchy of VPCs or in AWS how things are distributed. The data centers are distributed in the way you have first of all region like Mumbai or like China or like US, particular name of the region. And further in that you have multiple availability zones. Availability zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maximum of 6 till now AWS has, and minimum of 2 availability zone in particular region are allowed. So this is the thing. Further, this availability zone, you can consider them as in data centers in which the different subnets or subnet networking are done there. Subnet network one, subnet network two, in particular availability zone, like that type, it is distributed. So why it is done so, we'll discuss later while we'll do subnetting and why subnetting is necessary. We'll discuss there. First of all, we should focus on the region. So I hope the region is clear. Like region is the you can consider as an header or the heading, and then the subheading. It is called you can set it as an availability zone. So when you have to get an hardware or the resources or from the AWS, so you can get it first of all with your region, nearest region or whatever the region you want in that particular region, nearest region or the region which you want for, according to your demand. Next, it is further like divided into availability zone. You have various availability zone, and in that you can assign different subnets by default. If you have 6 availability zone, so 6 subnet, each one availability zone is assigned with the different subnet, and manually you can create more subnet and assign to individual uh, availability zone also. So this feature are also allowed in the AWS. So we will go in this, not this, in this subnet. So you can see this 6 some different subnets are there. So by the 6 subnets and their subnet address, okay, 0.0, 0.16, 16.0 must say 30.32.0, then 64.0 and 48.0, like this type it is there. You can see availability zone US East 1, AZ 1, any availability zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this has total number of 6 availability zone there. And also one thing you can notice, there are available IPv4 addresses. So why is it so? We'll discuss it. Why is it so? And some of the host IP or I must say some of the IPs are being reserved by AWS when we do subnetting for the processes like AWS DNS routing, internal routing, VPC routing, router, and for this purposes. And one address is reserved for extra for some extra processes. So these are all these things. These are the by default subnet ID assigned with their subnet address IPv4 to the particular availability zone. You can create new subnet from there also, and we'll create in the next video. So in this video, what concept we need to know the region or the divided into availability zones. So these availability zones are the data center. You can consider them as a different kind of things you can do each of them. Okay, you can something you can assign some. For suppose you have total number of 10 processes or 10 different resource required tasks. 10 number of resource required tasks. You require the resources for 10 number of tasks in your project. So you can assign two of your resource in this region to the availability zone. I must say one, and two of your resource to this three, show off your resource to this 5 and some like this way. So in this way, your overall project or system would be like reliable because it is using different subnets. It is not dependent on a single subnet or single availability zone. So anything or any crash, any server issues or something happened to one of the availability zone or any of the network or something crash, something attack or something like that is happened to any of the, you can say, uh, availability zone or the subnet, then you have high availability HA and high security and reliability with you because you have for the system running throughout your different availability zones. So this also used subnetting is used to get independency. Okay, what we call Atmanirbhar. So this is also one of the reason. So high availability, security, independency for the subnetting is done so that your subnet wouldn't like crash or dependent on the single resources from single data center from single place. I must say, or the hardware, what from where we are getting the instances resources. So it is divided, distributed over the network. So this is all about why we do subnetting, how we can create new subnet. We'll see that. First of all, we have seen what is the default VPC, virtual private cloud, and in region we have always one VPC created there, which is the default VPC. Its ID is different according to the region, and in that it has the same network address with this /16 one. And if we further do subnetting by borrowing some bits, we get different type of subnets, and we can these subnets are then assigned to the availability zones. Okay, and in the region, minimum of 2 availability zones are there, and it is till now it is extended to the 6 availability zones. And this availability zones vary. This number of availability zone in a particular region varies according to the demand and requirements of that region for the resources. So this was all about this video. In this, we have covered all this thing about VPC, what are region, what are availability zones, and how what why we need subnetting there, and will how we do subnetting, what are the reserved addresses, host addresses. We have seen this, and next we'll cover about uh, subnetting. We will borrow some of the bit. We will create subnet from our end by doing this in this option. We'll create subnet. We will assign this subnet to an availability zone, and then we'll next video will also create a new VPC. Like by it is a VPC created by default Amazon. We'll create a new VPC and we'll assign the address with what we want. Okay, so it will be interesting. So let's meet in the next video. Till that, stay safe and learn well. Thank you and have a nice day.